a bingo. Is that the way you say it? That's a bingo.
You just say bingo.
Bingo! How fun!
All right, That's a Bingo is back. It is 11/11/2020, Veterans Day. And my name is Jake Luke, and as you know, nobody supports the troops more than me. So extending a happy Veterans Day to any of our veteran listeners. I'm joined by Matt Pine and what is extremely gloomy, kind of moist day here in the Mid-Atlantic. Tough scene weather-wise, and I think it's reflected in your health, bud, recently. You didn't have the COVID or anything, but you were fighting a little bit of a cold and flu situation. So
yeah, so I live in Pennsylvania, and we didn't really do too much in the way of early voting up here. So I was standing out in the cold for a good hour and a half to vote, waiting to vote last Tuesday. Think it caught up to me over the weekend, and I'm paying for it right now. So
yeah, that's tough. I just went right to the ballot box and just dropped it right in there. So
must be nice.
Very convenient. I waited the last time, which was the first election I got to vote in. This time I just went with the ballot box, and I think I'm going to stick with that the rest of my life if I can.
Good for you. Wish I could do the same. Did not vote by mail, but I did perform my civic duty, and I think our movie review is going to parallel that a little bit.
Good for you. I mean, I respect the troops. We're both out here voting. We're just a couple of, absolute exemplary Americans here.
Yeah, as Daniel Day-Lewis would say in the Gangs of New York, some real Americans.
I'm an oil man.
Different. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you finally saw that.
It's the same character. It's literally
It is the same character, yes.
But it's still great.
Yeah. Thoughts on There Will Be Blood?
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, but I don't know. So we took a little bit of a bye week here, also some housekeeping notes. Just got a little busy last week. Election was going on and everything. Matt's sort of a little cold that he was dealing with cropped up as well. So it's been a little bit hectic, but we're ready to get back into the swing of things. It was a nice little week off, but we are still kind of in the political mood that the election brought on. So we're going to be looking at the Ides of March, the 2011 political, drama, thriller, whatever you want to call it, starring George Clooney, Ryan Gosling, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and everybody else in the world, apparently. Really, kind of fun movie to revisit. I had seen it once before, I think. And, it kind of ties into where my brother went to college and everything. So I have some weird connections with that movie that, kind of made it an enjoyable rewatch. So good choice by you there.
Yeah, a few Westworld folks in there as well. Evan Rachel Wood and Jeffrey Wright were in it as well. Really strong cast, but like you said, with the bye week, we kind of had an opportunity to mix it up, get into some more movies, and then definitely for me being sick, definitely aided in that area.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess in the spirit of that, what have you been watching in our layover here?
Yeah, been watching. Let's see here. So I did finally get into Walk the Line, which I know is kind of a big deal when it came out. I had not seen it before.
Is that the Johnny Cash?
Johnny Cash, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Little Joaquin Phoenix, been on a little Joaquin kick here in the last couple months, but really enjoyed it. And for being like, I know we've talked a little bit before about being like a biopic can kind of get a little old, little slow at times, but I think this one actually held some water pretty well, and it made it in the 9s for me.
Are you a big Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story guy?
I've not seen that either, but it is on my my list on Netflix.
Fair enough. Yeah, I haven't seen either of them, but or I might have seen part of the Johnny Cash one when it first came out when I was young, but not with a fresh set of eyes. So maybe I'll check that out at some point as well.
Any John C. Reilly, count me in for.
Yeah, really. I mean, speaking of Gangs of New York, what an iconic role.
Yeah, he just pops up in random ass movies. Like he was in Chicago. He's like singing in that movie. He's just in these random ass movies like the last 30 years. He
sneaky does have like a good amount of serious parts, and then he's just like the second fiddle to Will Ferrell during the comedy boom, which is kind of an interesting choice, and I think it worked well for him a lot of the time.
Yeah, big fan of his. Saw The Lighthouse, which is probably one of the strangest movies I've ever seen. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
No,
but,
I've seen some of the previews. It looks quite strange.
you get some mermaid genitalia in there. I don't know if I would recommend this one. It was low 80s for me, but stylistically, it was really cool. Shot in 4:3, all that stuff. But
It seems cool. It seems a little bit too far on the A24 scale of A24ism for me. So maybe I'll be passing on that one. But I'm a big fan of the Battinson, as we talked about, and Willem Dafoe, obviously, just an absolute great American.
Willem Dafoe is like a Captain Ahab type. Was kind of fun to watch. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, the costumes just look incredible. Maybe that's all I need to see.
Yeah. All right, a couple more here. Snowpiercer, which is a Bong Joon-ho. Also a screenplay by him. This is only the second movie I've seen from him, but it's very similar to Parasite in a lot of ways. And I gave it a 9.6. I really enjoyed it. And Chris Evans gives a phenomenal performance there. Very chill. Anything else you got? A couple foreign movies, actually. I like to get into those a little bit.
You're a globalist.
I am a little bit more of a globalist for sure. Chungking Express, great Hong Kong movie where they play the song California Dreaming no less than 10 times. It must have been the only song they got licensed, but it's a nice little love story. I thought it was kind of fun. And then La Haine, which is a French movie, which means hate in French. Definitely one of the best foreign films I've ever seen. 9.5.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yep. What about you?
Yeah, so for me, I got a good amount in as well. Just going chronologically here. It started off this little layover period with Looper, a Ryan Johnson sci-fi film from 2012, I think.
Nice.
I don't know what drew me to wanting to watch this, but I actually went ahead and rented it. I don't know why I missed it, and I don't know why it's kind of not a bigger deal. It feels like a movie that is really, really good and is probably an example of the type of sci-fi that I think should be explored and made more often. And I don't know, JGL he kills it. Other than the weird prosthetic makeup that he's wearing to make him look more like Bruce Willis, which I don't know if he needed. Yeah, it was really, really good. Emily Blunt also great. Willis himself very good. Really cool movie.
So Looper is in fact not the movie Jumper, because that's the movie I had in my head.
No, that I do. I remember that movie. I never saw it.
Jumper's you can teleport.
Yeah, and you literally jump off buildings and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that movie. I think they came out around the same time.
I think it did. Very confusing.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so Looper was sick. Got me a little bit of a Ryan Johnson kick. I said I know I said I'd go chronological here, but I did also check out Knives Out the next night.
Yeah, another
which
Ryan
I hadn't
Johnson.
seen. Yeah, that was really, really, really good.
Sneaky, one of the better movies for I don't know, because with some of those whodunit movies, they don't always turn out too well. I think for what they had to work with, and especially the cast, what's his face killed it, James Bond, but what's his name? Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig. Yes.
Makes
little Cajun accent there for you.
Compels me though. Yeah, no, it was great. And you mentioned the whodunit thing, I think that's a thing it's a genre that's gone by the wayside, I think, for a lot of different reasons. It's somewhat played out easily, falls into cliches, but I think they kind of go into it with a little bit of a wink and a nudge where they recognize the cliches, but they don't lean too far into it to the point where it's parody. It's still really compelling, and all the actors are great. And then the girl who stars at the center of it was really, really good as well.
Yes. Ben Affleck's girlfriend?
Is it? That would make a lot of sense.
Yes.
Yeah, he probably saw this movie.
Anna de Armas, I think her name is, something like that.
De Armas, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He just immediately texts his agent. It's like Vinny Chase trying to get Ari to.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was great. Kind of lost amidst that 2019 hustle for me of all the great movies that came out. I just never got around to it, but I'm glad I did.
Yep.
Revisited War Games in the middle of those two. That's a really fun little sci-fi movie.
Yeah, I have not seen War Games. Heard good things though.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick. Just like the anti-Ferris Bueller, just this total nerd. Plays it well. Ali Sheedy, great. Yeah. And what else? Almost Famous. Saw that for the first time too.
My one of my best friends growing up, his sister is in that movie.
Oh, really? Which character?
She's one of the groupies, I think.
Very chill. What are they? what do they call them? It's something different than groupies.
I have not seen Almost Famous. It's on my list, so I couldn't tell you. But
It's pretty good. It's I think I gave it like an 8.9. I really liked it.
very solid.
Yeah. And then, of course, I visited There Will Be Blood, the Paul Thomas Anderson masterpiece starring Daniel Day-Lewis, who's an oil man. This is
Daniel
my son,
Plainview.
H.W. Plainview.
Yeah, that's a wild movie.
Yeah.
It's really all you could say.
I kind of knew going into it was going to be like that, but like it just doesn't. You're not prepared for it until it fully hits you.
Yeah, I mean, we did our. This is a little precursor to our next segment, but we did our favorite movies from 2005 to 2009. This was pretty high up there. I think this was top 3 for me. Really enjoyed it, and it's a long movie. It's Paul Thomas Anderson, but it doesn't lose me at any point, which I think is a tall task to do in such a long movie. But
yeah, a lot of hateable characters.
Yeah,
very kind of difficult watch at times, but yeah, definitely a masterpiece. Really liked it. I don't know how many times I'm going to be revisiting it. I think in that sense, it kind of has some shared DNA with No Country, which came out the same year. Kind of reminded
filmed at the same time in the same place.
Yeah, exactly. It's 2007. But yeah, it's actually funny because I'm glad I watched it because I've told you about this golf series that I follow a few different times. Tourist Sauce, they're in Oregon right now, and like the guy who's one of the main producers on it, like helps put it together. They went out to the Sheep Ranch at Bandon Dunes, which is this like new, really cool kind of hipstery course. And he like opens it up and he does like an ode to There Will Be Blood, which I thought was really cool.
That's awesome.
Cool tie-in, perfect time to watch it. So yeah.
Badass.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's all I had as far as watch. Caught up on Fargo literally right before we started recording it. Most recent episode was a sock knockoffer.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good.
I need to catch up. I think maybe next episode or the one after we'll be doing a little bit of catch up. We did the first 3, so probably the next 4 I think would be a good possibility. But glad to hear you're liking it.
Yeah, definitely. But that is all I had as far as streaming.
Cool. So we got a couple of bits of news before we move on to our next segment. I know you saw this news because I saw you quote tweeted it. David Fincher signed a 4-year exclusive deal with Netflix which I think is a massive, massive get for Netflix.
Yeah, it's shocking, and it isn't at the same time. He's been working with them for a couple of years at this point. He's got Mank set to release, I think, theatrically this month, and then December 4th, I think, is the wide release onto Netflix. So he's got that coming out. It's gotten really good reviews so far, and then obviously he's been doing Mindhunter with them. So it's interesting, man. I've been telling you, and I'm sure this isn't, if you talk to people more educated than me, I'm sure it's not some sort of groundbreaking take, but I think these streaming services are going to be the new like Miramax indie studio type things that are going to give these auteurs their permission to go and do these passion projects and fund all the cool type of movies, and they're just going to be coming to the small screen at this point. And I think that was a little bit of a perfect storm with the way movie theaters had already been trending, and then COVID kind of knocking them onto their knees even further. I think this is maybe the first in a set of dominoes to fall. I think Scorsese's kind of already taken that route a little bit, and I don't think Fincher is going to be the last one that we see.
Yeah, I'm really, really interested to see Mank. It's getting a lot of Oscar buzz, as they say, in a year that we really haven't had too many Oscar-worthy movies.
If it's not getting Oscar buzz, that there's some concern, but it is, thankfully.
What are we even doing here if it's Fincher?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 4 years. I mean, I would hope that would mean 4 movies. We'll see. But big fan of his work, especially his early work, 90s, like Seven and Fight Club. This dude's been crushing it for a long time, and I think Mank, which is an ode to Mankiewicz from Citizen Kane, I believe, and also his father, who I believe was a writer.
Yeah, he wrote it.
He wrote it. Yep. So really interested to see how this plays out. And like you said, Netflix been securing a lot of these deals, and we just got to see where it leads. But I think you can safely say that with COVID and with these streaming services, a lot of these Hollywood companies, a lot of these production companies may be on their way out, but we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. And my other bit of news, I saw this tweet like yesterday or 2 days ago, and I laughed out loud at it because it's a movie that I was really looking forward to, and we touched on it, I believe, last podcast, and that would be Hillbilly Elegy, which received a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Like, I'm not shocked. Like, I'm just going to be honest. I'm really not shocked. Like, it's just, that does not feel like a movie that we need right now.
I mean, I was like, okay, well, this was like a hit.
Well,
as a-
Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, like I feel like if you have sometimes you get a disparity where like the
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes hate it, and then Metacritic, all the critics kind of love it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, they had that whole thing where they proved that I guess people were paying for Rotten Tomatoes like scores or whatever. So it's not always the most reliable, but yeah, I was excited for this one. Probably gonna skip it now, but just a kind of funny thing that I saw.
Yeah, it's it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Alrighty. So I guess we're ready to move on to our next segment.
Rocking Jock. It is top 5 in 5. Moving back, you mentioned we did 05 through 09 most recently, so it's going to be 2000 through 2004 now.
Alrighty. I believe I will start us off then. My number 5 is guaranteed to not be on your list because you probably haven't seen it, but Best in Show is my number 5.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's been a while. It's one of my mom's favorite movies.
Yeah, we have talked about this.
Yeah.
Just hilarious. I think it's kind of the gold standard for mockumentaries, and didn't think it would be on your list or your honorable mentions, but I can't snub it from my list.
I wanted to put it in my honorable mentions, but I just haven't seen it recently enough. And
Right.
When I have kind of watched it recently, it's only been snippets. But yeah, it's really funny, kind of cool movie, different idea.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people really doing the mockumentaries. So yeah, I enjoy that.
Yep.
My number 5, it's one that I recommended to you recently and have revisited recently myself. And I was kind of looking at it, and it's weird because I don't think like anyone, yourself included, would consider it within their top 5. But for me, it's Shattered Glass at number 5. I love this movie.
You know, I saw that. I was going through year by year, and I'm like, I guarantee you Jake's going to have it somewhere, top 5 or honorable mention. He's going to have Shattered Glass in there.
Yeah, no doubt. It's got a little bit of love on the rewatchables recently when they did Spotlight, which was very cool to hear because I don't know, it just kind of feels like one of those movies that is sort
Very
of lost
similar.
to history. Yeah, exactly. And it's like a similar idea. It feels like it's kind of lost to history, maybe a little bit ahead of its time at this point. But I don't know. I think it's really high quality, and I think people should revisit it if they have not, or visit it if you have not yet.
Yeah, I mean, I love movies that focus on journalism. Obviously, Spotlight being one of those. So don't hate it. Didn't make my top 5, but I liked it. So
Very cool.
my number 4 is Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko.
Don Darko, little Jake Gyllenhaal. This was probably one of my favorite thrillers of all time. It's not a scary movie, but this is like the beginning of Jake Gyllenhaal, his career, and it's pretty fascinating. You know, I really like listening to some of the interviews with the director, how he got some of these ideas, just pretty wild. And he talks he wrote the entire script in a month and a half, and I think was shooting it 6 months later. So he was like a first time screenwriter out of college. So he was like 22, 23 when he did it. So just pretty cool, but I love this movie.
Very chill. I have not checked it out yet. I might actually do that soon. I see it on Netflix every now and then.
Yep.
My number 4 is Catch Me If You Can. I don't know if this is going to be on your list.
God damn it. Snubbed it. Definitely snubbed that one.
Yeah, I think that is a snub because this is just one of the really fun. I think Spielberg did this one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Spielberg. I mean, you got him, you got Hanks, you got Leo. I mean, what else do you need? It's just a really, really fun kind of cool movie. Doesn't take itself too seriously, but touches on some serious topics. Some great walking in there. I need to watch it again. It's been several
It's a
years.
great movie.
It's really, really good. Just
Hey,
the type of
Jake.
movie that I just like. I never don't want to watch.
Hey, Jake.
Yeah.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Go fuck yourself.
Frank, how did you pass your bio exam? Study.
Not Abagnale, not Abagnale. It's Abagnale.
Abagnale, yeah. I gotta watch. It's been at least 5 years since I saw it, but I still remember like how much I loved it. Very
Also
cool.
underrated music in that movie.
Oh yeah,
Top notch.
Yeah.
Top notch.
Yeah, it's set. Yeah, it's what is it? The 50s and 60s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 60s.
Yeah, fun movie about a confidence man. So yeah, there you go.
Young Amy Adams in that as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I definitely do need to rewatch this soon. Feels like a good holiday movie, so maybe we'll revisit this at some point.
Very much is. Good
We'll
Christmas
do that.
movie.
Yeah, next couple months.
My number 3 is $1 Million Baby. Probably one of my favorite Clint Eastwood directed movies. Also one of my favorite lines in The Office. Akushla, he's going to try to kill me. Uh,
Yeah, he was getting the name wrong or whatever.
yeah, I forget what he said.
Babushka. I'll always love you, Babushka.
Babushka, yeah, that's what it was. This was I think this won the Academy Award actually for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Definitely deserved it. Probably one of my favorite boxing movies of all time. I think The Fighters is also definitely in there, besides Rocky, of course. But yeah, that would be my number 3.
Yeah, I haven't seen that since I was a kid. The only scene I really remember is the nose scene, which I feel like everyone knows that scene.
Right.
A little pun intended there.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Anchorman.
Oh,
I don't know if it's going to be on your list, but this movie is so quotable and like so funny and like I just like I don't know. I have my issues with the way like comedies are made these days, but this to me is like the pinnacle of like some smart humor, some dumb humor, just kind of right in that perfect sweet spot.
It's a comedy that we sorely miss in these days.
Yeah, and
we don't have anymore.
Yeah, and it was 16 years later, people quote that movie incessantly. People like I'm convinced haven't even seen it. Like younger kids are like quoting it. I'm like, man, that's pretty special. So I had to have it on there. It might not even be as good as a movie like Catch Me If You Can. It's just like it's so relevant to like the conversation still somehow. So Anchorman number 3.
I love the absurdity that it like portrays as newscasters. It's just like they read whatever's on the teleprompter, and I don't know. I love that.
Yeah,
fuck you, San
Diego. It's perfect. It's perfect satire. Like,
it is perfect. All right, my number 2 is Gladiator.
are you not entertained?
What's that?
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Big Joaquin Phoenix, great role in this. Big Russell Crowe guy. Just saw this for the first time a couple months back. I think this is another thumbs up.
That
big
movie
fan.
gave me thought like I thought that movie was going to give me an idea of like who Joaquin Phoenix actually is, and he's like the furthest from that role.
Yeah, insane, and it definitely I think for sure influences Joffrey from Game of Thrones. The Joaquin Phoenix character kind of influences culture pretty heavily, especially what we see made in the next 15, 20 years. So this would be my number 2.
Nice. My number 2 is Kill Bill Volume 1.
Nice.
So yeah, another one I've seen. Obviously, them both. Big Tarantino guy. It's been too long, probably like 4 years since I last saw them. So revisit them, but I'm just gonna say it. Kill Bill Volume 1 is my number 2. Kill Bill Volume 2 is my number 1. So
okay, fair enough. Neither made my top 5. They're definitely the first 2 on my honorable mention. The way and it's funny because like Kill Bill is probably like both of them. They're probably like further down my Tarantino list, but they're incredible movies.
That's how it is for me. Like they're probably my 5th and 6th favorite Tarantino movies, if that. And I still love them. Yep.
And like it's weird. Like these movies like check the like the boxes for like the Academy Award list. Like it's great sound mixing, it's great costume design, it's like all this stuff. Like
it's also like what's annoying about it is that it is one movie.
Right.
Like he just couldn't cut it down short enough, so he had to release them as 2. So I have to do them as 2, but I also don't want to like cop out and be like, oh yeah, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, it's the same movie. It's
the same movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible. Uma Thurman performance, great Vivica A. Fox performance in the opening scene. Yeah, it was just an insane fight scene. Probably one of my favorite Tarantino scenes of all time. But
yeah, and like the bleeping her name out and all the weird shit they're doing. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, what am I watching?
It's a departure from even Tarantino, who was already pretty weird in the 90s. And then like you start seeing that, it's like this dude is like off his rocker.
Yeah. Definitely. And his love of Asian film really comes through, which is awesome. The whole Green Hornet theme song that got going there. Pretty cool stuff. My number 1 is probably my second favorite movie of all time behind Goodfellas, and that would be Ocean's 11. Just probably the best cast of all time. We won't talk about Ocean's 12, but Ocean's 11 is great. My favorite heist movie. Another Steven Soderbergh movie for you.
It's literally like 5.5 for me. Like I wish it was on here.
Yeah, it's great. I first saw it when it came out, so I was 7, I think, when it came out, and since then it's been basically my favorite movie, other than Goodfellas.
Yeah, if I had to combine the Kill Bills, I would just make that number 5. But
yeah, fair enough. So that is my top 5 there.
Very cool. Going through quickly the honorable mentions, I had in 2000, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Almost Famous. which obviously I just saw. I think that deserves a mention.
Yep.
Boiler Room is a kind of a fun, little finance movie. It's not not going to make anyone's. Yeah, it's not going to make anyone's list. I think it's also worth a mention. The Patriot from 2000.
There you go. Great movie. Great Mel Gibson. Great Heath Ledger too.
Yeah, definitely. Just a really seminal movie. You watch it pretty much every 4th of July.
Yep.
2001, A Beautiful Mind, Ocean's 11, and Fellowship of the Ring. I wanted to give a shout out.
Yep, that's in my honorable mention. Some of the greatest movies ever in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Just kind of like doing the franchise thing, but kind of also being true to the source material. Kind of the first example of like really bringing a historical like book like that to life, and
like groundbreaking for like CGI too for movies.
Yeah, definitely like the orcs and all that stuff. Just really good stuff. 2002, Catch Me If You Can. Obviously, Gangs of New York was also 2002. I think that we have our issues with it, but it's still a really good movie. It deserves a mention. 2003, wanted to shout out Old School and Lost in Translation, two very different movies that I think are worth bringing up. And 2004, really getting into the comedy stuff here with Napoleon Dynamite, Dodgeball, and The Incredibles. I also wanted to throw in here. I love
Nice. Yeah, I would definitely throw in Finding Nemo in there as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Finding Nemo.
If we're going to do some animated, and then you actually named a good bit of the names on my list. One's not mentioned: City of God, which is a Brazilian movie, one of the best foreign movies. Minority Report, Born Identity, Mystic River, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, Born, another favorite of mine franchise-wise, so probably should have had that on there, but
all good stuff.
Very solid picks.
Nice. All right. We will tweet these out as well, and looking forward to hear your guys' takes on this. All right. So moving on to our movie review this week, we did the Ides of March.
We certainly did.
So, it's timely. I hadn't seen this before, so I was kind of going a little bit blind. But for me, incredible cast, first and foremost. The plot and the pacing at points were a little so-so for me. I liked it a little bit more than you did, but I think we were pretty much around the same score.
I think so you said you hadn't seen it. I think it's much better upon a first viewing. I knew what was going to happen. So like you mentioned the plot sort of being an issue. I think that's kind of what brought it down into the 7s for me, but I don't know. I hate to be like, continue to be Mr. Movie hipster, but like, this is kind of a movie that this is a movie that isn't going to be made in 2020, like an adult drama about a election taking place in Cincinnati, Ohio, shot on location with a cast that is probably more expensive than the Yankees starting lineup. Like this is not a movie that gets made anymore. And I appreciate it for that, from that respect. And I really liked it. I mean, frankly, 7.8 might seem like a low score, which is what I gave it, but nice C+, almost in that B- range. It's kind of just a mid-level adult drama, kind of harkening back to like the 90s legal thrillers and stuff that were getting made that those really don't get made anymore. This is kind of reminiscent of that for me, but sort of in a different way. And, the story is it loses you at times and gets a little befuddled, but I don't know. I think ultimately it wants to send a message, sets out to do so, and it pretty much does it exactly how you would expect. And, there's benefits and drawbacks to that, but overall a very, very solid movie. And, not really about politics as much as it is about elections and kind of like the cutthroat
more
business.
like strategy, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And the sort of the cutthroat business that can be, and obviously very timely with what we just saw happen last week and what we're seeing continue to happen with
never ending
our current administration refusing to accept the results of it. Like, what the fuck? Like that wouldn't even happen with these characters. So like probably maybe a little timely in that respect. And I'm very interested in that kind of stuff. Like I recently read, I think Jonathan Heilemann and Mark Halperin are the authors. They wrote Game Change, the 2008 book, or about the 2008 election.
McCain.
Yeah, Palin, McCain, and then the book. They made a movie, but the book also focuses heavily on like what got Obama into the mix and how he beat Hillary. So yeah, from that perspective, it's really, really an intriguing topic to me, and I think they convey it in a pretty interesting manner. It's maybe a little more dramatic than you would probably see as far as some of the human issues that are going on, but I mean, who knows? It's funny because that book goes into John Edwards. I don't know if you remember him too well, but That was a dude in the Democratic Party that was very close to getting the nomination, who had a mistress on the side,
And a dying wife.
yeah, and the wife got him like a lot of points from people because she was of a bigger stature. So like I think that's where that whole Curb storyline came from, about how the guy has so much integrity because his girlfriend looks a certain way. It's just like all weird shit that like goes into like politics and elections, and like it kind of reminded me of this movie a little bit. So yeah, it's just kind of an interesting sort of look at the inner workings of elections based on a play, I think, actually. So yeah, it's I liked it a lot. I think it was a good choice for this week, especially.
Yeah, I think this is very much a period piece. I think even though it was 9 years ago, the play came out in 2008. Politics, for all intents and purposes, were very different back then. It was very much more straightforward, and a lot of these races were based on more character than anything. I think this very well explains how politics are messy and still are messy, but to me it seemed a little bit more cut and dry back then, which maybe not be the case, but that's kind of the feel I got. I almost got like a West Wing type feel from this, where it focuses more on the staff than the actual candidate himself or herself. So that was kind of the like Sorkonian type feel I got from this.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It feels like the West Wing without that sort of Sorkin optimism that we've come to enjoy and also kind of poke fun at a little bit. So it's without that. So I think in that respect, it maybe loses a little bit of character as something like the West Wing has, but it also kind of is maybe a little more compelling in certain spots. So, I think the Morris character is really intriguing in the sense that, Clooney gives this great performance and he's this really educated, like charismatic, like good looking guy, like the perfect like presidential figure that I think frankly we like could maybe use right now in the real world. But like I think the movie goes on to paint the picture that like nobody is what they seem, and like that is no more clear than in something like politics, where he kind of turns out to be a little bit of a scumbag at the end.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting how they portrayed him. Interesting that he's like an atheist, and I don't really think that would fly, especially in a lot of parts of America. That he would be so successful in politics. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just really an authentic look at the whole system and how these deals kind of get made behind the scenes and all that. I think I read this that it was based off of the Howard Dean campaign, or at least the play was.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I think of when I think of Howard Dean is Dave Chappelle. Yeah. I just had to get that in there.
That was a nice bit on the Baltimore Beatdown podcast last year, actually.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, big Howard Dean guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to the White House. Then we're going to Pennsylvania. Then we go to Vermont. Then we go to the White House.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah. What a guy. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I definitely had some issues with some of the subplots. But I think the performances really stand out for me. Like Paul Giamatti's performance was pretty incredible.
I love Giamatti.
He's great. He's great.
He's great. All right, you little fucker. I've recused myself.
Philip Seymour Hoffman doing his thing for sure. And I like this one. Timely. Don't know if it's going to be something that I go and revisit. So I kind of got that feeling from you, but glad I watched it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have ever gone back to it if we didn't do it for this pod. But I think it was maybe worth a rewatch. Maybe another election season a few years down the line, we'll come back to it at some point. Who knows? But it was cool movie.
All right, we shall see. Moving on to some of the categories. Throwing Tomatoes for me. I know this was kind of an integral part of the second half of the movie, but the Evan Rachel Wood subplot intern thing, I don't know if that was my favorite part of the movie. I think I was expecting more of like cutting deals and like, okay, you're going to endorse this guy, we'll make you Secretary of State type thing. I understand how they had to tie it in and kind of come back towards George Clooney's character, Mike Morris, but probably what I took most issue with the movie.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the idea of like the moral hook of it, and like how this guy is like kind of presented as this great like presidential figure, almost like JFK-ish in some ways. But there was a lot of dark stuff with JFK going on, kind of similar to the character that we're looking at right now. So
Yep.
I think it's interesting, and it really does wind up, like you mentioned, it being like not your favorite storyline. It winds up being the whole crux of the movie, really, because
Mhm.
impregnates her obviously, and then the Gosling character is sort of dispatched to deal with it. He's kind of not able to because of the ties that he has with her. So yeah, it's kind of a muddled sort of thing, and it winds up being the entire crux of the plot.
And
really.
then like the her death, and I don't know, it was just
it's a
it
little
was
like
just weird.
it's a 19-year-old girl. It's like, do we really need to be doing all this? Like,
Yeah.
maybe like you mentioned, I think the movie's at its best when it's exploring sort of the politicking and like the guys from the different campaign staffs meeting up for a drink. Like that's kind of what I was into with it, especially like
Yeah.
Giamatti dealing with Gosling, and then Gosling sort of playing the poker game where he like goes to him and he's like, give me the job. He's like, I'm not going to hire you now. Like you told them, or you told them like we met and all that stuff. You leaked it to the Times and Marissa Tomei, who we haven't even mentioned yet. So yeah, I think the movie's kind of at its best when it's doing that. And it's kind of not dealing on all this morality stuff because I don't know, like a lot of politicians are scumbags in some ways, but I don't know if it ever really gets like this dramatic all the time. So
Yeah, and I don't know. This was the one thing that they added from the play. They did, or actually added to the movie from the play. This storyline was originally not even in the play. But yeah, I guess you gotta make Morris look like a scumbag, like at least in one way. So I understand it, but not my favorite. Did you have another issue with the movie at all?
let me see. Yeah, I mean, like I probably would have story-wise, I would have liked to understand like the stakes of the election a little bit more. To like add some weight. Like you don't really get a sense of like the guy that he's running against at all, really.
No.
And I feel like that would have adding a little bit more color there would have, it would have kind of given the more color to the character of Morris, I think, who, he's great and it's well acted and his dialogue is well written, but I don't know. I don't really understand like why there's this massive groundswell that he's like going to be the president other than it's George Clooney and he's like speaking some cool lines. Like I would have preferred to get some more context on his competition.
Yeah, I think they kind of missed that part. Like he's apparently like a well-loved governor of Pennsylvania, but like, why are we pulling for this guy? Why is this guy so popular? And why should we dislike his opponent? Like, I don't think that was fully fleshed out at all. We got his campaign. We got Paul Giamatti from like his campaign, but it really wasn't fleshed out as much. Like they could have done like more in that way. So I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where we're at a disconnect with like a movie that we wanted it to be versus the movie that it is, because it's kind of at the end of the day, it's really not even about like this election. It's about like his relationship with Gosling and like this girl, obviously in the middle of them. But I don't know. I probably would have preferred them to go a different direction than that, as we said.
Agreed. So for my That's a Bravo, I would probably say a lot of the second half of the movie kind of did it for me. Pacing in the first half was a little bit slow for me, but I do like all the deal making behind the scenes and how Philip Seymour Hoffman leaked the story to the newspaper reporter about Stephen Myers, who was played by Ryan Gosling, meeting with the other camp, and he gives that whole speech about how I value loyalty and that's the only thing that matters to me. I thought those were some of the stronger scenes in the movie, and that's what I would pick for my That's a Bravo.
Yeah, he crushed it, and I think that kind of goes into mine, which is obviously just the casting. I mean, all these stars are just jumping off the screen like right off the bat, like Clooney and Gosling kind of really becoming a massive star at this moment in time in 2011. Obviously, PSH is awesome. One of probably his last big roles. Marissa Tomei, I mentioned, like she's in this. Like,
it's great.
I didn't even remember that. Evan Rachel Wood, obviously, and Jeffrey Wright would go on to do Westworld. A show that I have some feelings on. I enjoyed the first season.
First season was good.
Yeah.
Didn't see after that.
I got like half an hour into the second season, episode 1, and I was like, nope, I'm done with this.
I'm out.
Still going, apparently. It's got like Aaron Paul in it, so good for them. I'm not into it. And then obviously Giamatti, and then our boy Max Minghella from The Social Network.
There you go. Yeah, I do remember him in there.
Yeah. Very good cast. And I also really enjoyed them shooting on location in Cincinnati. It gives it kind of this authentic feel. Like this is kind of the stuff where states are won and like elections are won in sort of unglamorous places. Like they're in these hotel bars, and they're like kind of in the outskirts of like this Rust Belt town. It's kind of interesting. Like I mentioned, my brother was at Xavier University when they were filming this, so like he was kind of on campus when they were filming some of the scenes that were there. And then like having been to Cincinnati a few times as a reflection of that, they did a really good job with it. And it's an intriguing move because a lot of these political movies I feel like tend towards DC, understandably, but kind of showing like what it's like in a battleground state at the time. It's like everything's going down. I thought that was kind of a cool idea.
That's a really good point, and it kind of reminds me of that. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Swing Vote or Swing Voter. I think it was called.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but yes, I did see it.
Not a good movie at all, but like it's just about this like drunken father, like this bad guy who like the vote comes down to him somehow, and he's like,
it's like it's a glitch because his daughter like tried to vote in the machine and she left her. It's like completely nonsensical.
It's insane, but it reminds me of that like type of voter, like. Elections can be won or lost by appealing to some of these people in the Rust Belt or some of these guys in in more rural areas. So I do appreciate that as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's and also weirdly like they didn't include Cincinnati in the credits.
Yeah, I was going to say that in trivia, but I don't have trivia, but they omitted it from the first credits, and then for the home release, I guess they included it or something. I don't know. But,
yeah, for sure. But I don't know. It's not like nobody would know. Like they make it quite obvious that's where they are in the movie.
Exactly. Next category is keeping score. No licensed music in this one, but to me it felt very tonally similar to House of Cards, and I think they took a lot of notes from this. So that's all I had for that.
Yeah, it just felt like a nice tone setter. Like you mentioned, no licensed music. I feel like that was probably the right choice for something that you're adapting from a stage play and kind of trying to create wholly unique to yourself. And it was a good tone setter. It didn't really jump out to me, but I liked it.
Okay, cool. Some quotables here. Stephen Myers, played by Ryan Gosling, says, "You want to be president? You can start a war, you can lie, you can cheat, you can bankrupt the country, but you can't fuck the interns." That's one golden rule.
That's really good.
It is really good. That is great writing. More from Stephen Myers, talking to Mike Morris, played by Clooney. "We're going to be fine. We have to do it. It's the right thing to do, and nothing bad happens when you're doing the right thing." And Morris says, "Is that your personal theory? Because I can shoot holes in it." And Stephen Myers says, "Well, there's exceptions to every rule." A lot of snappy dialogue. It's very, like you mentioned, Sorkinian, kind of, shooting barbs at each other. I like it. Is it Sorkonian or Sorkanian? What's the?
I say Sorkinian because his name is Sorkin, so I just kind of.
Well, you just threw a monkey wrench into everything, but okay.
Who could say? Honestly, Sorkinian. You can shoot holes in any theory, so you can call it Sorkanian or Sorkonian or Sorkinian, whatever you want.
And then we got Paul Zera, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, kind of playing the little holier than thou. It says, "There's only one thing I value, and that's loyalty. And without it, you're nothing." Kind of true, but it speaks to him. And especially in the political game, we've seen very recently that loyalty does mean a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, we're learning that right now, evidently.
Anywho, next quote. Last quote I actually have is by Tom Duffy, played by Mr. Giamatti, Paul Giamatti. "Revenge makes people unpredictable." Thought that was pretty poignant there.
Revenge makes people unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
By Tom Duffy, played by Paul Giamatti. Yeah. You like Giamatti?
It's pretty solid, actually. I
think it's pretty good, if you ask me. But maybe I'm just doing Chuck Rhodes from Billions. Who could honestly say?
It sounds like somebody else, but I cannot place my finger on it, so I'll just stew on that a little bit.
Okay.
I'll think about it.
I feel like a lot of mine sort of blend together in different ways, but that's another conversation.
They do. You have stronger ones than others, but this one's it's up there.
Okay.
So yeah, the Ides of March. I just picked it not necessarily to be a one of our favorite movies that we've seen, but a very timely one. I'm sure we'll do that throughout the year, and solid watch.
Little trivia.
Do you have any trivia ready?
I do. I've got the IMDb pulled up right now, which is
you.
The first line. Brad Pitt was cast as Paul Zera, but was replaced by Philip Seymour Hoffman. I could not imagine Brad Pitt in that role.
It's like Brad Pitt like just eating like funnel cake in like the local like Cincinnati whatever. Like
Loyalty is the most important thing to me.
I could see it.
Yeah. Okay. Stephen Myers says a slur about his opponent. I don't care if it's true. I just want to hear him denying it. This is reference to a statement attributed to Lyndon B. Johnson, who allegedly referred to an opponent as having carnal knowledge of farm animals. When an aide said he couldn't say that because it wasn't true, Johnson replied, "I know, but I just want to hear him deny it," which is like kind of a very good distillation. Yeah, it's a good distillation of like the Streisand effect in politics, where just having an idea out there about your opponent can be more deadly or just as deadly as like the idea even being true, which like isn't the case a lot of the time.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Which wound up,
which was true. So
yeah, it
doesn't apply.
It's a funny situation. Leonardo DiCaprio dropped out of the role of Stephen Myers, but he stayed on as executive producer through his company A P and Way. Chris Pine was then considered before Ryan Gosling was cast. Some strong names there.
I could see, not gonna lie, one of the Frank Abagnale characters being a political advisor or a staff member. That'd be funny.
I have to talk to you here about this whole situation. You talk to the fucking New York Times.
Yeah, I could see it.
The squinty eyes. Yeah, that'll be good. The Ides of March is March 15th, notable as the day on which Julius Caesar, or Caesar, depending on how you want to announce it, was assassinated. In Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, before being stabbed to death, Caesar is told by a soothsayer, getting a call on my Skype for some reason. Caesar is told by a soothsayer, beware the Ides of March.
Yeah, that would have been a crazy ending if that would have actually played out with Clooney there getting assassinated. But no, we didn't have that. And I didn't know, Ides of March. I was thinking maybe that relates to like a Super Tuesday type thing or like some political date or something. I was kind of questioning that. But
I don't know. I figured it would be like some sort of important date for the election. I didn't really understand like the connection, but it's a good title.
Yeah, pretty solid.
Yeah, as stated in the DVD audio commentary, the bar Head First, where Steven meets Tom Duffy, is located directly across from the street from the Cincinnati Reds baseball stadium. It's named for Pete Rose, who would often slide headfirst into bases. Paul Giamatti, who plays Tom Duffy, is the son of the late Bart Giamatti, who, as the commissioner of baseball, imposed the lifetime ban on Pete Rose.
That's pretty neat. George Clooney, big-time Cincinnati Reds guy.
Is he?
I think he grew up in northern Kentucky or something.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. And he actually tried out for the Reds when he was 18.
Why am I not surprised? That fucker can just do anything. Some of Governor Mike Morris's campaign posters are inspired by the Shepard Fairey's iconic Hope poster used during Barack Obama's campaign in 2008. The AP photograph that Ferry used in Hope was taken at a 2006 press conference in which then Senator Obama shared a stage with fellow Senator Sam Brownback and George Clooney, who had just returned from Sudan. Indeed, the image in the Hope poster is of Obama listening to Clooney speak. That's interesting.
George Clooney just doing the Lord's work out there in Sudan.
Yeah, this character is also clearly kind of based on Obama a little bit.
Very much so. Yeah.
After watching Morris stating on video that extremism cannot be faced with more extremism and that America should understand why its enemies behave as such, Stephen mockingly says, "Hello, my name is Neville Chamberlain, and I'd like to be your commander-in-chief." This is a reference to the attitude of the British Prime Minister who before World War II blindly believed he could negotiate with Adolf Hitler towards peace by appeasement with disastrous consequences. I actually like that line a lot. I should have brought that up in quotes.
That's actually a very good line. I should have been in quotes for sure, but yeah, I was watching Seinfeld the other day and they were like, "Yeah, I'm like Chamberlain, give away half Italy. Here you go, take it."
Oh, what's the deal with Neville Chamberlain? Many of Mike Morris's supporters carry signs that say "I like Mike," a reference to the slogan "I like Ike," which was popular by then President Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Big shout out to Joe Rogan. He always posts the video of Dwight Eisenhower's speech talking about the military industrial.
He is obsessed with that.
He is very much so.
He's right.
Yeah. I've seen at least 17. Like I haven't watched Rogan in a while, but I've seen that video at least 17 times watching his podcast.
Yeah, I definitely pick my spots with Rogan. Some of them are not necessarily listened to at all, but some of them are must listen. And he does love that Ike's farewell address.
Shout out Kanye.
Yep. Yeah, that was that's a whole nother podcast. Several times in the movie, characters ask young interns if they are Bearcats, which references the University of Cincinnati College nickname. George Clooney attended the University of Cincinnati briefly, though he never graduated from college.
Pretty neat.
Yep. The screenplay for this film was featured in the 2007 Blacklist, a list of the most liked unmade scripts of the year. That's pretty cool.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Wonder
I
how many-
don't know how deep you've gotten into the show Entourage, but like people give that show a lot of shit, but like it does give like a interesting look into the Hollywood world, and like especially like in the early, I don't know how much it happens now with the way that like things are trending, but like at the time, like scripts just bounced around for years. Like it's kind of a cool sort of thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we just our last review a couple episodes back was Trial of the Chicago 7, and that was basically done in 2006 and didn't come out until 14 years later. So I'm sure there's many movies that fall under that umbrella.
Yep. In a title tussle, Sony originally wanted to use the title of the play that the movie is based on, Farragut North, a title Sony believed would be a more recognizable moniker for U.S. audiences. However, the filmmakers wound up going with George Clooney's choice, The Ides of March. The play Farragut North debuted off-Broadway in 2008.
Do we know what that means?
No, I mean, Farragut is a neighborhood in D.C.
Okay.
I don't know if that's like where it's set.
Okay. I was confused. I was looking through the Wikipedia page and I saw that. I'm like, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I have no idea. George Clooney grew up in the greater Cincinnati area where the movie was filmed. This is George Clooney's only directorial effort placed in a contemporary setting.
So I haven't seen The Descendants. When is that set?
I'm actually not sure.
Okay. Interesting. I think he directed both of them the same year, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Go back 2011.
Jennifer L. played George Clooney's character's wife in the film Michael Clayton, where Clooney played the title role. She played his girlfriend. All of her scenes were cut, although they are included in the deleted scene section of the DVD.
First off, I'm pretty sure Up in the Air, not to completely steamroll you here, but I think Up in the Air was directed by him. That was modern day.
Yeah, okay. Up in the Air. I haven't seen that.
Good movie. Really good movie.
Yeah, I've heard good things. The film's cast includes 3 Oscar winners: George Clooney, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Marissa Tomei, and 2 Oscar nominees: Ryan Gosling and Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti. Great guy.
Paul Giamatti. The film's cast includes 3 Oscar winners. The only film nominated for 2011 Best Motion Picture Drama at the Golden Globe Awards, but not the 2011 Best Picture at the Academy Awards. What won in 2011?
What the hell? 2011 was... I should probably know this.
The Moneyball?
I'll look it up. 2011 Best Picture. So it wouldn't have been Argo, I don't think, because I think Argo is 2012. King's Speech, 2011.
Oh, yeah. Good movie, you know.
And it's good. Solid.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, here we go. Beau Willimon, the author of the play Farragut North, used a Washington, D.C. metro station name for the title of this play because the station is located close to think tanks, lobbyists, and other federal government advocacy groups. Farragut North Station is located on the metro system's Red Line, just north of Farragut Square, at the intersection of Connecticut Avenue and K Street Northwest. So my theory proves true.
Yeah, I think this kind of set the stage a little bit for House of Cards for sure. But I think The Ides of March probably better title, rolls off the tongue a little bit better.
Yeah, and after Molly's funeral, my last bit here, after Molly's funeral, when Stephen and Paul are talking outside their cars, Stephen suggests that Paul look for work at Farragut North, and Paul is unsure. Farragut North is the name of the play from which the film was adapted and was the original working title for this film before George Clooney changed it to The Ides of March. So I guess that's your tie-in with him going to work for like a consultants agency or something. That's
the quite literal Leo DiCaprio pointing at the TV screen meme.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great meme.
It's a great meme.
That's all I got. Trivia.
All right, perfect. Ides of March. It's streaming, so you can watch it on Amazon Prime. Tweet us in with your thoughts if you liked it, didn't like it. And it's about that time that we pick our next movie for our next movie review. So you mentioned Oceans and Soderbergh and all that stuff, and I kind of came into this episode without as much of a plan as I usually have. And in the spirit of that, one that I haven't seen but have been circling for years is Logan Lucky. So we're going to check out Logan Lucky this week. That is literally the next movie I planned on watching on Amazon. So this is perfect. There you go. Awesome. It's on Amazon Prime Video to stream, and probably you could rent it anywhere else. So Logan Lucky. Read my mind, buddy. Very chill. Little, was that Adam Driver? Who else we got? Adam Driver. I think Daniel Craig in that one as well. Then is De Niro? Am I making that up? Might be making that up. Might be. I have it pulled up on movie rankings. Let me see. Okay. Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Riley Keough, Daniel Craig, Katie Holmes, Catherine Watson, Seth MacFarlane, and Dwight. I've heard nothing but good things about this movie, so I'm definitely pumped to check it out.
I think Ken Jack was actually tweeting about it today.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was literally the next movie I was going to watch, so perfect.
Yeah, I meant to actually see this in theaters years ago, but just never got around to it for whatever reason. But here we go. This is our opportunity.
Random thought. Have you ever seen the movie Children of Men?
Yes, it's been way too long, but big fan.
I am in the midst of watching that right now, but liking what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, that's a cool movie. Who directed that?
Pretty. Who directed it?
Yeah.
Let me look it up. Good old Clive Owen in this one, but let's see who directed this one.
The funny thing is, I thought Clive Owen was John Cusack using an English accent when I first saw it, but I was very young.
If you look at his face, he kind of looks like a thicker Jim Carrey a little bit.
I can see that.
A little bit. Alfonso Cuarón directed this one.
One of the coolest long takes in a movie you'll ever see is them in the car with the ping pong.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, it's sick. Yeah, that's a really cool movie.
The way they tilt the camera, spin around, it's pretty badass.
Yeah, motorcycles come out. It's just like, what's going on here? But
yeah, it's kind of frightening. Cuarón also directed Gravity and Roma, the Mexican movie.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good John Mayer song. So
Gravity
do
is working against me. Big John Mayer guy over here.
Me too. He's
love his blues. He's phenomenal blues guitar player.
I'm a big Grateful Dead guy, obviously. So him doing Dead and Company is an absolute treat. You could just flick on one of their live concerts and just let it go for hours.
I will do that. I will watch
here's
Buddy
that
Guy.
song that I love with John Mayer singing it. Here's that song that I love with John Mayer singing it and playing guitar.
Mm-hmm. It's tremendous. And I high-fived her with my penis. That's my John Mayer quote of the day. So there we go.
Oh man, good thing that guy got off the booze, man.
Wild human being.
Yeah. Anything else for this week, then, bud?
No, I think that'll wrap it up. Logan Lucky, really, pumped to be watching this one. Whether we get into some more Fargo next week or the week after, I'll definitely be binging some of that because I've been falling behind a little bit there.
I think we're coming up on the 9th episode, so you're in a good spot to kind of catch up quarterly up through 8. And like I mentioned, I think episode 7 kind of wasn't great, but then they really kind of rebound and followed up with a action-packed number 8. So kind of a nice palate cleanser, I think, and they're heading into the home stretch.
No spoilers, but how's my guy Jason Schwartzman doing so far?
He's doing good. I think some people have issues with like the way that he's approaching it. They're like, oh, he's not menacing. It's like he's not supposed to be.
It's Jason Schwartzman. What do you want?
Yeah, he's I was thinking about it today, and like his character is like if the Kieran Culkin character from season 2 like came into power now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a cool dynamic. Yeah,
I can see that.
I'm liking him a lot.
Okay, cool. I'll be chopping that up this week for sure. So
very nice.
Cool.
All right, bud. That all we got for this week?
That's about all we got.
Very cool. Well, we appreciate everyone tuning in and helping to make this show the fun experience that it's been for us. We hope it's fun for you guys. If so, feel free to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review or whatever kind of review, wherever you're getting it. Go ahead and follow us on social media. You can follow the show on Twitter at Bingo Pod. You can follow me at Jake Luke. That's LOUQUE. And you can follow Matt at mpine_. Also, check us out on Instagram at thatsabingopodcast. And if you're listening to this on your pod platforms, you can find full video episodes on YouTube at That's a Bingo. Appreciate everyone tuning in and have yourselves a great week. Enjoy the Masters, by the way.
Booyah. Yeah, I was thinking you were actually going to pick Happy Gilmore or something for this week. Not going to lie.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of it, but it's like, how many great golf movies are there that we like have to
Caddyshack?
do? Yeah, definitely. But like, it's a November match. Like, let's wait until spring. It's going to come back around in the spring. We'll do it then.
Okay.
Very cool. Like I said, appreciate everyone tuning in and have yourselves a tremendous weekend.
Booyah.
Peace out.